All right, my brother done it. It's all on you. Bless.
Good afternoon to you all. My name is Darrell Jones. In total 35 years dealing with the prison system for a crime I did not commit. I don't go and talk about what happened to me. That's a Google fact. You'll be there a long time. What happened to me, probably most of the stuff that happened to me happened to no one else in the country. Although you see movies and so on. I'm on a Netflix series called Trial for my partner. I was helping him. So you'll see me through it. So many of them, there's big deals working to do my life story. But they wanted, for the same reason the prison system had it. In prison, I created 12 programs in the prison system where I started teaching gang members. I won several awards in prison, but the biggest award I won was the United Nations Award voted on presidents and counselors across the world. I won it from a jail cell. So I have a little more than a hip hop award from a jail cell. But here's the thing that I want the parents to know. The first group, and I only came so you guys understand, since I've been here 3 days, I'm always on go. So because I was a child entertainer, when I hit this town, they had a lot of artists here, and I had to go to all these clubs because they know I'm here. And I don't do any performances. I actually am just who I am. They know of me from jail, and I know the Nipsey hustles, and I was with Nipsey when I came out, DMX. I was with the people, right with them. So the reason I'm bringing that up is because I know the difference between fame and lame. So here's the thing that I want to do. I want to do a couple of things with the adults that are here. Because I want you to know why our children are headed somewhere else by an adult problem. We never had a kid problem. We have an adult problem. I've spoken at schools across this country, Harvard's, the best of them. In fact, how that happened, I don't know, but when Minneapolis, George Floyd went on, his verdict came in, the same mic that you see Al Sharpton talking from, I was their guest. In fact, if you watch CNN and see me, no one, news, media, everybody, the Floyd family had his daughter. And the news, everybody wants to talk to him, get close to her. They took her and said, nobody. That little girl was walking in, and I don't know why. She turned around and told them, it's all on video, and said, but I want to talk to him. And they put her down, and I'm the only person that got to talk to her. Right? Why would that happen? All right, so I'm going to show you something. I'm going to ask the adults to help me out. And I try to do it in the past, but I just did it with your church, so I want you to do it in the form of you say, I'm just going to answer it, right? So these are the roads of life. I do this for a reason. So this thumb is road 1. Remember what I'm telling you. This is road 2, 3, 4, 5. So you understand that 5 is the pinky finger. I'm going to go down this line, starting with the pastor as quick as you can. It's basically calling out numbers, right? What road do you want to be on? These are the roads of life. What road? Just pick a road. 1. There you go. Okay. I'm going to show you something, and I want your kids, they can hear me when you might think they can. If we're going to educate our kids, and I've been with the best of the best, and everywhere I've been, they picked the road. Scholars have picked the road. And I'm going to give you the same lesson of why you're losing your kids, and what my parents did to me, and what you'll continue doing to your kids and not know why you're leaving them. How do you be a leader in your community of anything? How do you be an elder or an adult when you can't make choices and teach someone else choices? One of the things we learn is whatever option we see, we choose from. I said these are the roads of life. And not one adult in here said, what's on that road? It could be a dead end. Where is it going? What is it about? How does it work? They just picked the road because those are the only options I gave them. In the community, that's how your kids feel. It happens so quick to them that they pick a road because it's the only option. It's your job to teach them that no matter what nobody puts in front of them, they always have another option, and they should always ask what are on those roads. And until adults learn that, no matter what your God gift is, you ain't gonna be able to help these kids. You better learn how to make choices yourself first and pay attention to what's being said fast. Now, for you guys, how long have you been in the church? Let's say, my brother here, how long have you been in the church? All your life. How long have you been in the church, my sister?
All my life, 63 years.
63 years. Would most people been in the church for a while, the elders you've been here? How long have you been here, my sister? So a lot of people got a lot of time in this church, right? In any church. That's why I have a problem with the church. That's why I really, do you know that I've been invited to so many churches to speak? And until I came here from major pastors, major pastors, ones you've seen on TV, to do TED Talks, I turned them all down. Because I don't start with the pastor that's on the come up, started with the pastor that got the light isn't relevant to me. What I've learned about the pastors that have the light, whether it be T.D. Jakes or whatever, if you've been preaching that long and you still got to keep preaching and we still got a problem, you might be the wrong person on the mic. Your time might be up. Because what our people do, we can't talk to our children, we can't talk to each other without the national anthem behind it. We can never just say what we mean. We've learned to articulate it, and we got a little anthem going so we can blow it up and make it sound like a lot when it's really a simple thing. It's deadly what you're doing to yourself. Because I don't know if many people believe you're going to see God, and I don't know if you believe how fast you're going to see Him. But I can probably tell you what He's going to say. I could probably think from being in hell with Him so long, where He didn't come to me when I got off work. See, I didn't have no job. He didn't come because, see, usually if you're preaching or you're in the church, no matter what you're into, in your lives, you guys still had to feed your family, go pay the mortgage, do all that, and all that stuff is going on between time. I didn't have to do any of that. I was stuck in the cell. So for a lot of it, I was in the cell by myself with nothing but a Quran, a Bible, and a pen, and a wall. No television, no radio, so just think 10 years straight, I'm looking at nothing but walls. Do I look like somebody that's suffered? Right. I don't have a scratch on me, so usually you see a brother in jail as long as me, he got some kind of scratch on him, and I've been with every killer there is. From my hands on, touch my hands, my hands feel like probably softer than some women. Right. Now, the point is, I never had to put my hand on killers, although they wanted to put their hand on me. In fact, I led killers. I'm known to do that. Where the administration would put me in holes because they couldn't figure out how I can communicate with guys they can't control, and they're following me. So I became a problem in the prison system, where they had to move me because they said he can't be around no one. He's too much of an influence. But they didn't want the prison to change. Okay, so Pastor, this is my message to you. The same message I had to him. Here's the problem. I told the pastor here that he was a soldier, right? And he says that he's in the military. Okay, what he's been missing and why I came, and I meant what I said, in order for him to soldier, somebody's got to also bring the ammunition and bring the food while he's fighting. He's been fighting and nobody's been coming to really give him the right ammo for the new fight. That's why I came. See, good people can do good wrong and not know it. Here's the wrong. My sister said 2016, all these years you've been in here, I'm going to show you something. I'm sure a lot of us had a lot to do with hospitals and been to hospitals. Let me show you how a hospital works. No matter how you want it to go, this is how a hospital is going to work. The pastor gets sick, right? Gets real sick. His insurance and everybody's going to kick in. The pastor's going to stay in that hospital, and when he get well, as soon as they know that the pastor is well, an insurance company know, the pastor's not going to tell them, yeah, okay, I know everything's signed off and I'm well, but I want to stay another day because I'm watching this Netflix. They're going to tell him, oh, we don't pay for no extra day. As soon as you're well, get out. That's exactly how that's going to go, right? Okay, I don't know if a lot of you all know this, but the church is a hospital for sinners. When you get well, you get out. If you bounce yourself the rest of your life and here's an old person still in church, you can tell yourself that you must have never got God's message because you never left the church. You're supposed to be new interpreters. If you're in this hospital, you're running a heck of a bill up on God when he's saying, I brought you in and you still there 25, 30 years getting the same message. You should have been another pastor by now. Don't think you're in the position you're in. You might be getting ready to go see God and think you're going to tell him how good you did in prayer, and he's going to tell you how in action you did to your youth because you didn't take what was in the church being said out to your block, to your street. And not only that, I think this might be a danger to everybody that considers themselves praying in Arizona. You know what God did to you guys? I'm not the only innocent guy who was here. For 3 days, 240 of us all across the country that have been innocent was in your town. And we were right down the street. Did you visit us? When God said visit the prisoners, he brought you, your state, 240 innocent men and women that have done 45 years, 30 years, all of us that just got released and have been released, and we didn't see none of you all at that doorstep. So if he brought all the sufferers there, maybe your church wasn't ready. Because how can we come to your town and you don't know we did? You need to get a quicker link to God. You know how the internet came? You preaching from what your mama heard. To catch them, you better learn how to preach a little faster. And the only way you do that is God comes and says, I'm going to give you a gift to use. And now, just like if we were in the UN, you ever watch it? People come from all over the country and all these presidents, they don't understand each other, so they got this in the ear, they got an interpreter. I'm going to advise you, you better find somebody like me, and you better learn how to use them as your interpreter to say what you're saying without that national anthem, because your kids are not going to hear a God that don't move. See, the thing you've been telling them, all our life my grandmother told me, and I know we were told, right? If you be good, if you do the right thing, you can be somebody. Anybody ever heard that one? You ever said that to your kids? If you do right, if you go to school, you can be somebody, right? Dumbest lesson ever taught to a kid. How you gonna tell somebody that you birthed and then gave a name that they have to do something to be somebody when they was born somebody? You're supposed to be telling them that. That's why you gave them a name. That's why you were able to have that child and put the tag on them you wanted. And then you're gonna tell them in a world like you got out here today, if you do the right thing, you can be somebody, and then you're going to sit back and let a Trump be president where they just saw the devil kick in. They understand, y'all been lying to us. Because the devil can make it and run the world and cause more problems, and you didn't do nothing about that, adults. We're doing it wrong. We're doing good wrong. Do you understand that? Until we collectively can come together and I can be me. See, I dress like this for a reason. So I can come in here with the suit on and I can talk. I don't do that. I wear what they wear so that when they identify me, they don't see what's coming. And then they learn what I know. I'm trying to tell you that I don't want to see you, my sister. You know, it's like a casino. I don't want to see you for the last 16 years of your life. For whatever pain you come from, whatever divorce, whatever happened to you, that you sat in this church and thought, I'm going to get to my promised land through the pastor. The pastor is the road sign, right? So, like Google. And then when you Google the street to go to and Waze, and you turn the wrong way, Waze will keep bringing you back to where you go. If you get frustrated and turn Waze off, you'll end up where you don't want to be. I don't want to see any of you elders go to your grave believing you've done your good yet. You haven't done your good until you too know how to find your interpreters and reach your children. Until you do that, you may be going to see God under an umbrella you don't know, because the question may be, how you gonna come tell me you told those kids something good and you can't make a choice right in front of your boyfriend? Prison made you choose a road and you can't figure that out yet? You better pay attention to what's happening in here, right? It's a real reason why he said from the mouth of babes. And it's a real reason why he gives the baton over to sufferers. Although the other people who have suffered in various ways, see, no one took from me my car, my mortgage, this is going wrong, my girl is acting up. Devil came for me, he took it all. When I was in prison, my grandmother that raised me, my only brother, and my son. Both of those two were killed from homicide, but while my grandmother that raised me was dying, my brother was dying at the same time. But the key thing is, not only was I in prison wrongfully convicted, but I couldn't go to their funerals and I couldn't say goodbye, anything. I came home to tombstones. I don't talk to those. I created a project I would like you all to go look at. It's called What is Beautiful Never Dies. I was in prison. I saw mothers like you. So I knew people in the industry, and I said, I see all these mothers suffering. I lost my own son. So I took all of these artists and I contacted them. Some weird things happen when you watch that video, you're going to see. So in Massachusetts, two of the biggest, you want to say pastors and different things would be the Oldham family. It's a husband and a wife team. They had lost their 13-year-old son. So when I have these visions in prison, no one thinks it's going to happen, just like they didn't think I was going to have my magazine, just like they didn't think I could run clubs from prison, just like they didn't think a guy from prison sitting in a cell got a 20-man team working for him. And they can't figure out how these people working for me, and they don't even know me. And they worked for me for years. Are you understanding what I'm saying to you? I kind of know what I'm doing, but I had to go to hell to know that. Right? When everybody else is comparing to God what went wrong in their life and the ailments and disease, He's going to look at you and say, that guy that was talking to you, I took it all. I gave him the Job test and he survived. And don't get in his way. You understand that? I really did the Job test because I didn't quit on God. I never quit. And then I came home, and they want to give us money, so I'll eventually get money, right? And all my buddies that have come home all across the country, of course, like their family, I get text messages from my own son, from my own family that's left. And you know what they say? You did that in prison. You're so busy saving the world, it should just be about us. And I have to tell them, when I was in that cell by myself, and me and that devil was beating it up daily, and he was telling me, kill yourself, look, you can't get out. You didn't even do nothing. Look, we're past 20 years. You said this, and you're in the segregation. There's raisins there, there's this, there's that. The gods, everything hates you because you keep talking the same thing and building programs. The gods hate you, the most hated prisoner in the state. He heard that from lawyers the other day, just telling them that guy got it worse than anybody because I suffered. They would do things to me that a guy could go stab a guy and beat a cop, and they would punish me different. I'm the only guy that I think it was Thanksgiving, that they took from the whole prison, and they put me in a basement on a loading dock to separate me from prisoners where I froze. And for 3 days I was naked, and I wouldn't quit. And they said I was gonna die. But they put me there on a principle they wanted me to give up. Now here's the point. When I went to prison, I was offered over and over 4 to 6 years, actually 6 to 8. I would have done 4 years and went home. It was a phone call to my grandmother, and I said, hey Mom, this is what they're saying. And my grandmother said one thing and died after. My grandmother said, we don't do that. Right? Now here's why I will honor my grandmother for that forever. My grandmother's the only person. I don't need a Malcolm X, Luther King, none of that. My grandmother was a Jehovah's Witness. She knew that I needed her. She knew my whole family was going to fall apart. No one listened to no one but her. So the only way we could all communicate is through her. She said to me, all I got a chance was a second while she was dying, to say something. And she said to me, I said, Mom, what are we going to do without you? Because the whole family's trying to convince her. She's a Jehovah's Witness. She had a little cancer. All she had to do was take this little blood infusion. My grandmother would be here. My grandmother said, you do what you got to do. I'm doing what I got to do. We thought I was playing. And I watched her die believing in what she believed in. I know believers when I see them. I lost one that I needed. But then when she said that to me, I went, you're right, Mom. I don't need you. We always think we need another person. What I need to be doing is be what I'm supposed to be. And then I worked on that. Do not let anybody, my sister, don't do it. Do not sit in this church and age out when you can get on a Zoom and say, I learned enough to say something, Pastor. And you start getting yourselves on Zoom. So when you come to church on Sunday, you get the reserve you need, your backpack. But go find something to do. Because one thing I know about all God's prophets, they all had something to do. I don't think the God we should be following when we get off our knees, that we think we pray. Some people think, imagine this. If you've ever done this, you might want to stop. Imagine God. You know how you feel when somebody keeps asking you, like, I try to help you, but you keep coming, you keep coming. Imagine being God. He has to get a call from all of us. And here go Jake calling. You know, I lost my house. My wife took it all. Oh, Lord, please help me with that. And the Lord going, I don't live in no houses. What are you praying to me about that for? I didn't make that. That's man stuff. If you find yourself praying about man stuff, you ain't talking about no God. You praying to a man about his stuff you want back. God don't make gold chains and Gucci clothes. Man makes that. You better know the difference of who you're talking to when you're dressing yourself in the mirror in the morning and know if you're dressing for God or are you looking at the name brand you got on. That's what you better know. When you look sharp and step away from that window, you better understand the accounts you're filling. I learned to do this, so I had this on my wall. I would look at how much money I'm making from my magazine or somebody helping me, whatever it was. And then on this side, I had a thing written that said spiritual account. And what I made sure is that my spiritual account had more banking in it than the money I had. That's why I'm rich on that side. That's why I can talk anywhere in the world and I ain't gonna stutter. I don't need a book. I ain't got a script. I ain't studied nothing. I don't need to do none of that. My thing works like the radio works, but nobody wants to understand that. How can we all expect God to see us as a people when somebody over here is working at channel, they're acting as though they're on 94.5, you're on 108, you're on 107. Do you ever notice when you get in your car and you put it on your pastor station, the other station, unless something's going wrong, it does not come on? Whatever station you land on, that's the station you on. Okay, when you're on God's channel, we'd be moving the same if we all were on his station. We're bumbling around on all these other stations saying these are God's stations. He's saying, I got to wonder why y'all can't get on it. I don't understand. You better check your radio play. I'm trying to tell you that, sadly, a lot of you all don't know that the ailments you got, the way you're going through it, this is how it works. Take it from a sufferer. Take it from a sufferer. Since 18, and I didn't start suffering then. I'll tell you this. When I was 2 years old, it's a real weird life I lived. When I was 2 years old, my father, my birth father, killed my mother's husband with me in his hands. So in the paper you're gonna see blood and the whole nine, whatever, right? From something my mother did. My mother married a man 2 weeks before and said her brother was in town. My grandmother did not know when he said your brother from Chicago's here in town. My grandmother said what she's supposed to say. No, he's not. My mother went and married a man that my father didn't even know, right? They got into it, okay. But what happened is, from 2 years old to 5 years old, it's all on my record, they said I was mentally retarded. For 2 years to 5 years old, I sat in the corner and played the string. I never talked. And they said I would never talk again. Do I look like somebody that ain't talking? Do I look like somebody that ain't talking? Do I look like somebody that's mentally retarded? And then they took me and put me in the prison system to break me more. And everything that they put on me, God just lets me survive it. I'm as cool as a cucumber, right, about living. I tell you, it feels good. If you know my secrets, you'll be living a better life. Not that you'll do better, but you'll find better in you. Do not be the people that have sat here and prayed your whole life and told your kids to pray to God if that God ain't an active God. If that God didn't get off his knees and do anything, you're on the wrong radio station. It don't matter who you are. So this is how you're going to get free, my sister. Take it from me, the sufferer. This is how you're going to get free. You're going to look at you and you're going to tell yourself, you know what, these ailments, some things happen I don't deserve. And then you're going to remember something. And you got to get back to this. Man is real good at making other man. We use man, we mean women. We know one man, but I'm just using man because that's, even God uses man. Let me tell you the trouble with that, what somebody probably didn't tell you. Pastor, I'm sure you know this. In the Bible it says, where there is no vision, the people perish. Somebody been throwing shade on y'all's eyes for a long time. So lack of vision is making you suffer. Visionaries are coming to you, and when they come, you looking at them. See, if I came up here when I was walking around this church, you can't tell yourself no lie. Like, that might not be the appropriate gear for church. I wouldn't go like that. Because you get dressed in the morning for church. I am church. It don't matter what I put on. Do you understand? So now, I'm also saying to you, my sister, it says in that Bible, so you don't forget this. When it starts, it says, people don't seem to know that, and it says it in the Quran, there's so many relations, it says, ye are gods, but you will die like men. So let me explain something to you. Anybody that got any sense would understand that if ye are gods, and God is saying ye are gods, but you will die like men, that means you start off as a god and then you start deducting from yourself and you lose your God. Go back to your God and tell yourself, I am God, and let me stop thinking about being like men. And when you bring the God back, your spiritual account will start adding back up. And you'll remember God told me, he didn't say he's God, he said ye are gods, but you will die like men because you're smart enough to know they're so slow, they'll reduce themselves to men when they were gods from the beginning. Who want to get back to being a God? A real God. You know what? When you take your kids and you go play baseball and you see Tom Brady and his football and his Bill Belichick or whatever team you're on, someone gets them from a little kid. They train them to play these games, throw these balls. Someone trained them, right? Okay. And then they get ready for the game. You know what they've been doing to you, my sister, for a long time? Take it from me. I've been with God for real. And you'll know because me and you were talking about something that only your soul gonna know. And you're gonna know when it's the message. Take this from me. People have been playing with your life, playing with your God. You've been praying for God to come down and he don't send nothing but other people. When did God ever come down? He made a Moses, he sent you a Jesus. God doesn't do our work. He doesn't take phone calls and work for us. He's not a company you call and he just keeps answering the phone and be like, James, I'll be right down. Your call is not going through from the 60s to our, and we're going to keep telling them, be good and have the dream. And ain't going to wake it up. That's an embarrassment. I'd be running to a bathroom right now telling God, I got it wrong. I understood the message, I just didn't have an interpreter for myself. I got so good at what I do, and I got so filled with spirit, I didn't even see the little one coming that you were going to send me to use to make sure I really get it right. So here's how you know you don't know your kids. Pastor, give me just one lyric from Nipsey Hussle. Okay, the biggest rappers that are out, the kids know what he's saying. How are you going to talk to your kids when they know what Nipsey was saying and you don't know what he said and they be like, we don't listen to that music? How are you going to talk to your kids without informing yourself of what Nipsey is saying? So what you better be doing in this church, you might not want to tolerate the swears and the way he's saying it. You better get up here when they come on and play some Nipsey and let it play the swears the whole night. God ain't worried about that. And then see what he's saying and then interpret that to your kids what he was trying to say. Because you ain't hearing it and you're going to be like our mothers were, like, I don't want to hear that mess. Then you can't help them. Because how you going to help somebody that's listening to something else and ain't hearing you? So if you ain't did the homework to hear what the rappers are saying, you ain't ready to tell no kid what they supposed to do. That's why they got your kids. And they're going to keep your kids. You are good people doing good wrong, and you are in a prison that you can't even see you in. And you are in a congregation where my sister's crying right here, stuck in a prison. But I know what's happening. God can't use you to do that one. Because you didn't know that message. He gave it to you just like he gave it to you coming from the street, then he gave it to me. The sad part about it is, I keep telling to my people, use me, the prison system used me all my life. They put me out as a murderer. They said I was this, they said I was that. They used me all my life. Then you go to black folks and I keep telling them, you must not understand the word. I'm built for this. Obviously, I'm built for all that I've told you. I'm built for this. I'm unbreakable. So therefore, I've been tried and tested. Not, I went to jail for 5 minutes, so I had a hard life, and I came into it, and I got a vision. Bro, if you can't smell smoke from me, then you don't know nothing like hell. I walk around, I should smell like smoke. Nothing's going to happen until pastors, leaders become good Bill Belichicks. You know, Bill Belichick, for the Patriots, they got the most rings. That little fat guy don't throw a ball. He can't run that field. He can't do none of that. But he took Broso and made Bledsoe and Tom Brady made all them champions because one thing he's good at. Now remember, he'd have made some plays, some moves that you'd be like Cam Newton, that the big people that got all the money. is the world is saying, man, he messed up. Remember that big play picture? He messed up. And then you won't notice they'll get rid of Tom Brady, who was their superstar, before they get rid of Belichick. And then you'll say, why would the man with all that money know in the world he can make more money? And he go, because this dude right here know how to put teams together. He's good at that. Pastor, I say, me and you get together and we put some teams together. And I say, every one of you all, we get together and we put some teams together. What you can't say, I'll say. And then they can't say to you, well, we don't really know. We got a doctor expert in criminology to your church, and you get to clapping. Yeah. And all he did was study my real suffering. I'm the identical author. I say this to people all the time. No need to read the book when the author's here. Better know who you're talking to. See, I was built to be that. I'm rejecting God. It's a beef between me and God. I'm in the rap world. I can go in the fame thing. I hit these clubs down here on VIP. I can go anywhere I want. I got that fame. It ain't what God's trying to do. He's been trying to do it. He's like, you're going to preach for me, boy, one way or the other. One way or the other. So then I come out here and I go, TD, you ain't going to be able to help me. Tyler Perry, I've preached. Whoever contacts me ain't going to be able to help you. You've been in the light long enough. You can help yourself. Your people still in church. What did I say the church is? The church is a hospital for sinners. So if it's a hospital for sinners, why are the people healed still in the hospital for all these damn years? I've been there 17, 20 years. Well, you've been there too long. You never got healed? You better go out and talk to somebody else. Good people doing it wrong. You're good people, but you are doing it wrong. You better take somebody like me and teach me and use me. And if I'm meant to be that, bring it out of me. And if you can't do that, you probably don't know what God's before I'm gone. See, I was in prison, and I've had some scares. I won't say it on here because I don't want to alert my family, but I had some scares. And, you know, in prison, you don't eat right. I never drunk the right water. I won't be around that long. I know better than all of you all. So when I say use me now to reach your kids won't be talking to somebody that know. Everybody in that industry know me, that rap world. So I can talk to your kids with just a picture showing them right now. We can play the videos up here, me and Nipsey and them chilling. People they never met, I just came home, I know them all. And I don't know them from Adam. Somehow they send for me, like the song said, right? So with that I go, well then we got them. And all they are to me is the preview. Nipsey knows why I'm saying that. And then the kids fascinate. Because they're going to be in this church like, oh man, wow, that's Little Dirk. But when they finish with that, not only do I know them, I'm going to come around that corner and show them videos of me with Little Dirk and all of them and say, but isn't it ironic that those guys want to sit down and hear what I'm saying? Right? We're going to guide our children back. If you want your children back, before we can get our children back, before we ever get our children back. So I got one mission at this church if I come back here. One mission. When I come back here, I don't want to see my sister having a tear. It's too late for crying. You're not supposed to cry on your way out. You're supposed to be rejoicing, God said. Why ain't you rejoicing? Because ain't nobody gave you nothing to rejoice from. They told you things. They raised your spirit. And once your spirit got high, nobody realized that it does fall back down. Nobody was there to catch you, so you landed hard again. So you're going to keep coming to this hospital. You're going to keep getting services. You're going to keep getting inspired. But guess what? You ain't never going to get healed until you remember this day, even in my weakness, you are a God. And if you ain't careful, this man will try to make you die like him. Don't let him reduce you at all. You understand that? These relationship stuff that you all are doing out here, I had a woman, I can smell every perfume. See, I enjoy the world. I can come out and look at a tree. I had my buddies pull over from a highway because I saw a black squirrel, and to them I was like, what are you doing? And I'm going, I learned something. See, for years I never saw a tree, I never saw a squirrel, I never saw a rabbit because they're not available to prison. So I never saw them. So I can take that in. So when you walking by a tree, it's just a tree to you. When you walking by another person, it's just a person to you. When you've been gone long as I've been gone, you can look at this sister right here and be like, God, I'm walking to her. She don't know. She think I'm just saying what's up, and I'm really just saying, people, hey, I'm out of that cell by myself. I got people. And if you love me more, I'm going to get stronger. If I was strong to survive them, imagine somebody loving me back. I'm a problem for the man. Some of the things that I say, I'll give you an example why I'm a problem for the man, for the government, why they try to buy me off. So I say stuff like this. if I went to prison and I gave 35 years of my life, somebody actually did kill somebody, and they made 45 dealing with $55,000 a year off of me. Just think of that, off of me. I'm going to tell you something to tell a boyfriend or a brother in a minute, with value minutes. If you know anybody you want to tell, that's a male especially, they made all that money off of me. And then I look at the community and I go, you guys see innocent men all over and innocent women getting out. And you know they didn't do it 20, 40 years. Then you are not doing the math and going, they paid this much to keep that person in jail. The only people that have the power are you, because all you have to say, when the DA gets up, make sure you understand this. Any prosecutor, they start saying this. Your Honor, in behalf of the Commonwealth, Darrell Jones, in behalf of the Commonwealth, in behalf of the Commonwealth, no district attorney can prosecute because they want to. They have to say it, behalf of the Commonwealth. You know what God's going to do even to the pastor? Just so you'll know, so you can get back to God. Once you know what he's going to do, you'll know he's going to one day say to the pastor, hey, pastor, I've got a quick correction for you. You know, when the guy was in prison and all the people were in prison, and I'm sure you visited, you had the heart to do it and all these other things. But here's my real question. Did you go in that prison and raise me a prophet? That's where I would put him. From the lowly, from the mouth of babes, not from the ones that are doing well, it's going to come. Better find a new scouting ground for your future pastors and see if you can convert them. But for you, you ever watch this movie called The Green Mile? Okay, when I got sick, and as I get sicker, I'll never be able to worry about why I got sick. Because you know what I spent my life doing? I spent my life seeing people out there that were sick. And I could handle it. I guess I knew I could, and I would pray to God and be like, take that off, then give it to me. I can handle this, I can handle all this too. So whatever come, I can deal with it. You don't belong to the church. You don't know that. I don't think so. We call ourselves members. I'm not telling you what to do, Pastor, but I would change that. In order to be a member of something, that means you just joining in. That's what members do. You become a membership, you join in, and you're just a member. How about you stop being a member and be a participant in your church? There's a big difference. And then if you let somebody like me walk into your church and find somebody hurting like she is, and you let a little black boy that been in jail all his life, because Chicago never had nothing had the roughest life possible, come in here and discover her when she's sitting around you, you all are wasting up hospital time. You can't say you took care of your own when I come and find her. That's God on your back right now, not knowing it, right? Because everybody else that's supposed to be your friend, you know how they're going to approach you, Pastor? Good evening, Pastor. How are you, sir? Yes, sir. Very great. They're going to use words to articulate the whole world, right? When there's one word that I give back to senators and everyone, they don't even be knowing the word. So I'm going to give you a word. What school did Jesus go to? Anybody know? What college degree? What about Moses? But we've taught our kids, when you get your degree and go to school, what school did they go to? Anybody? That's why they have this word. You should have told your kids there's a word, so actually you can be that. The word is out of that. It's easy to remember. A-U-T-O. If you Google it now, auto is the first word. D-I-D is the second word. And since she's Googling, I'm going to have her read to you what it says. Act, A-C-T. Can you Google that for me? A-U-C-T. Just like auto. You know how to spell auto, right? This is important. Because I want someone else to read it. I want you all to understand. Did, D-I-D. Act is the last part, A-C-T. Who want to read me what that says?
A self-taught person.
So, when I'm around scholars, I let them know we're from different schools. You went to school where they train everybody in the best colleges that don't catch on to keep spending money to all learn the same thing to compete against each other. This word exists because there are some of us that are born to be self-taught. I happen to be among those. My sister learned to be self-taught. See, you didn't know that exists. Nobody ain't never told you. You can stand with pride and be like, damn right, I taught myself. There's such a word for somebody like me. And I used everything else that's happening. Put that backpack on. You know, one of the things right here, and I know it went a little longer, I don't know what war y'all going into if you're watching Ukraine and all that, but you're putting your gear on wrong. One thing I understand, Pastor, you break it down for me. Now, I do know that God says the breastplate of what?
Righteousness.
And what happens after that?
The next one,
Yeah, the next one. Take us through
the
it.
shield of faith, the buckler of truth, and the preparation of the boots,
Okay.
helmet of salvation.
Right. Now that's army gear. God got you equipped. Meaning you are equipped. That's a lot of stuff, but he got you equipped. The only thing some of y'all don't know, the equipment that he made and put on, and he's talking about a buckle, all that stuff's in front of you. It ain't made for people that turn their back. Ain't nothing to arm your back. So you've been getting hit up and suffering because you been getting hit in the back because you think you're a soldier. It's only made for people that's going forward. That's why everything is breastplate. To say nothing about your back. So when you're suffering, know that you didn't go, you're going to war backwards. You ain't going to win and you ain't going to protect yourselves or nobody else. Right? My motto is to make it simple for you. No matter how far you fell, this is one thing I learned. No matter how bad it got and gets, my motto is to take this motto with you and I'm going to leave it on this. I don't care who it is. I tell them, if I can look up, I can get up. You better not never let me be able to look up. You got to put all the lights out on somebody like me. I thank y'all for having me.